Welcome to General Epistles. We're talking about the book of 1Peter. This is Guido Bible College, and I'm Terry Clyde. I want to talk briefly about the authorship and audience of 1Peter. From the earliest times, Peter has been accepted as the author, so we'll not deny that now. His specific audience was the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia. And while those are just names on a page to us, I want to bring that to life with you, a map for you. If you look at this, in this upper part of our map here, tells us the part of the world. And throughout Pontus, that would be right here on our maps. Galatia is here. Cappadocia here. Asia right here on this corner, and then Bithynia up in this top part here. So this whole area right here is a specific area where Peter is addressing his letter. His audience was probably Gentile and Jewish Christians. We say this because in chapter 2 verse 10 he makes a statement that they were not a people before but are now. And this would not be true if the audience were totally Jewish. In fact, they would be offended if the audience was only a Jewish audience and he said, you were not a people before, because they had a strong national sense of unity. Let's look at the content of 1 Peter. And of course, we're doing just an overview, so this won't be very long and it won't be really in depth. I do want to point out a similarity between James and 1 Peter. They have a similar beginning content. That is, after the introduction, both mention trials or temptations and the need to stay faithful. For a little extra work, you might want to look and see what other parallels there are, for instance, concerning control of the tongue. Very interesting study there. In overview, let's look at a little bit in chapter 1. This epistle begins with a greeting and goes into a statement of encouragement in times of temptation and trial. And he's very careful to make the statements that you should remember that it is worth the struggle. The trial of your faith is a worthy challenge. And he makes very certain that he makes this clear in chapter 1, verse 16. He makes reference to an Old Testament passage where God says, be ye holy, for I am holy. We're to be set apart. It is worth the struggle to maintain our focus on God, no matter what the struggle. That is his challenge and his admonition to us. Chapter 2 encourages the readers to desire spiritual growth and to be careful how you treat people. There's an admonition in here to honor everyone, to fear God, to honor the emperor or king, and be sure to follow the steps of Jesus. All the way through the book of 1 Peter, there is a focus on being as Christ-like as possible. Chapter 3 talks about family and personal relationships and how those can affect our relationship with God, including, but not limited to, the fact that husbands not treating their wives correctly can find that interfering with their prayer lives. We should maintain focus then on what is really important, our families and our relationship with God. Chapter 4 talks about Christ having suffered to us, so we should be willing to suffer for him. It will be worth it in the long run. In chapter 5, we got closing statements, including this: casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you. The book of 1 Peter bears reading carefully and deeply. I won't spoon feed it to you. You can read that for yourself. I would encourage you to focus in some on chapter 3, having to do with husband-wife relationships, and look at the word used for how a husband should treat his wife with honor. And also in the previous chapter, chapter 2, it talks about honoring the king, and the word honor is the same root word. So for those that would say this is a sexist or a statement that has to do with putting down women or putting them in their place or superiority of men. I would challenge that thought, because if the wife is to be honored and a king is to be honored, it would appear that she's not put down, but she's raised up. Men, treasure your wives. And as you struggle to make a better marriage, to make a better future, cast all your cares on Him. He does care for you.